Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Takes. You don't know, my name's Chad. Take a dive on sports. And welcome to Week 15 of NFL action. That's right, we're getting close to the nitty gritty to find out who's going to get their shot at the second season in the playoffs and see who can actually make to the Super Bowl and lift the almighty Lombardi Trophy. My two picks for the Super Bowl are still hanging around. I haven't punched their tickets yet, but they're sitting pretty good in their particular positions. One's already clinched their tickets to the playoffs, and that's the Eagles. There's already a handful of teams that have already been eliminated from postseason play. And before I dive into all the action coming up in Week 15, to include Saturday games, as with the advent of the college football season now in the postseason calendar, NFL can now start playing on Saturday, so we get a full weekend of NFL action. Before I dive into all that, if you could, go ahead, smash that thumbs up for me, especially the content I provide you. Really please you two guys really help the channel out. You also subscribe. A lot of you guys review my work, and I love you for doing that. But 80% of you do not subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps me provide more time value for you. All right, now going over last week, it was pathetic. I wasn't a losing record, but not a record I really like. I went 7-6. I tried to pick some upsets last week. It didn't quite go that way. I did pick the Lions beating the Vikings, but I did pick the Giants beat the Eagles. You can't get them all right. But I would really love to see the G-Men pull that one off, but that's a different story. And now it's time to look at this week's action, and we're going to start off with Thursday night matchup in Seattle between the Seahawks and the 49ers. The 49ers will be without Deebo Samuel. That's one of those monstrous receivers that Brock Purdy will miss. And that's if he's able to play. I think he's listed as questionable. So with the injuries right now on the 49ers offense, I mean, they've lost three quarterbacks, possibly three quarterbacks. I don't know. Jack Johnson will definitely not be a huge upgrade. He's a little bit more mobile of those quarterbacks. But not having Deebo Samuel, who gives you different aspects, especially running the ball as well as receiving. We still have Kittle, you still have Ayuk, you still have McCaffrey in the backfield. He went off last week anyways. You are taking on a Seahawks team that offensively has the same skill sets with Geno Smith, Lockett, and Walker in the backfield. So it's the 49ers defense that has to really step up, and the Seahawks defense has to match up. Right now, the 49ers are favored by 3. I'm taking the Seahawks. I think them playing at home against the division rival pretty much, try and get them back in the race for the West Division crown, which I don't think they will end up getting anyways. But I think there's a little bit of question marks right now on the 49ers offense. That lends me to kind of believe and maybe Seattle might sneak this one out by like a 2-point margin. I mean, nothing against San Francisco. I think they are probably one of the teams to watch out for in the NFC playoffs. But I think they're going to stumble here, and Seattle, I think, might be the team to do it. Then we had the Saturday games, and the Colts, led by Jeff Saturday. Oh, would have thunk that one. Head into Minneapolis, take on the Vikings. And the Vikings are reeling from their letdown in the Motor City. Indianapolis is just not. They just can't seem to get anything going correctly. They'll get like a few good drives, and all of a sudden the wheels fall off, or horseshoes fall off the horse. I mean, it's one of those things. Can the Colts do a whole game against Minnesota? That is a difficult task to do against the Vikings. Kirk Cousins will still put up some good numbers. Jefferson will still have his numbers. It all depends if the running attack from Delvin Cook can actually help alleviate some of the issues to let Cousins be able to pass to Jefferson or Thielen. But I think they will right now. Minnesota's favored by 4. I think it's going to be kind of similar to that one. I think Indianapolis is one of these teams you just can't not pinpoint exactly where to kind of fault him at. But if you rush Matt Ryan, it's pretty much that's game over for them. But yeah, definitely Minnesota, and I'll take the points on that one as well. Then we have to Cleveland, where the Browns may host the Ravens, the Marless Ravens. They'll have a Huntley back there once again. Deshaun Watson's third start in this series. He'll take on the very competent defense led by Roquan Smith. There's enough talent on that Browns offense that should give Deshaun Watson some abilities. If Chubb can get going with his running attack, he'll definitely make things easier for Watson, especially having Amari Cooper. As long as the timing's right, Amari can actually make some brilliant plays once he catches the ball. Cleveland's defense is decent enough to should be able to contain Huntley. There's not really much else with the Ravens offense except for the tight ends. So if you give Huntley enough time, he can find the tight ends, which would help Baltimore maybe get a win or two with Lamar out. It really helps them out in the divisional race. I mean, they were great last week against Pittsburgh, but they knocked out Kenny Pickett. The thing is, you can't knock out Deshaun because then behind him is Jacoby Brissett. And Jacoby Brissett is no pushover. So, Lions think same thing I am. There's enough on Cleveland's offense they could counter the Ravens' defense. Ravens' defense is not scary. They cough up fourth quarter leads. It's been proven time and time again. And I think Cleveland will be able to beat Baltimore. I think it probably will be a 3-point advantage as well. So I do like the points in this one as well. But I definitely would take the Browns beating Baltimore. And then we have the Dolphins heading to Orchard Park, New York to take on the Bills. Right now, the Bills' offense seems to be sputtering a little bit. They're not really looking at Singletary or any other running backs really help eliminate the load from Josh Allen. They're letting Josh Allen kind of do everything. You can't do that. I've said it many times with Lamar Jackson and Baltimore's offense. Lamar can't not be the focal point. It will crumble sooner or later. It did last year. It's somewhat hampering this year. The Bills have to readjust this to kind of limit the time frame Tua has with the ball, where he can throw it to his two star receivers, because that Bills defense is susceptible to the pass. But if they can get to Tua and get some key hits on him like they did with White last week, those were some pretty vicious hits, but they were legal hits. But, ooh, yeah, you'll definitely feel those hits. And not to mention, it's going to be cold. Tua doesn't like cold weather. We think he's down in Miami. We think he went to Alabama. He likes the warmth. So playing outdoors in Western New York will not be fun for him. With this aspect, I think Miami's going to have problems. Right now, Buffalo's favored by 7.5. It's not going to be that much. I'm sorry. As much as I would love the Bills to kind of just dominate Miami in this one, it's not going to be that way. Like I said, Josh Allen has been doing a lot of questionable throws, especially in the red zone. He's throwing a lot more picks in the red zone than he should. I think he's doing too much. He toned down his play a bit, kind of gave a little bit more to the running backs. Then that way he can be able to find Stephon Diggs and all the other receivers, and he can be able to then do his fullback running and knock people over. But we'll take Buffalo, but it will be less than 7.5. I'm probably going more with like a 5.5 spread on this one. This is going to be a close matchup than what I think a lot of people might think is going to be. I think Miami might give them a little bit of a scare, but Buffalo should be able to pull it out in the end. And then Sunday, we head to the Windy City, where the Bears will play host to the Eagles. The Bears are out. The Eagles are in. The Eagles are favored by 9. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty for Chicago. Not going to be pretty. Justin Fields probably going to have more running yards than the rest of the team. He'll have more offensive yards than the rest of the team combined. It's going to be a long day for Chicago fans on this one. You'll see, why Jalen Hurts should be in the running for the MVP, and why Justin Fields addition to Chicago may be a question because they have nothing there to help him or protect him. So I'm just hoping that things kind of go a different direction. But yeah, this is going to be a bad game for Chicago as Philadelphia routes them. Then we head down south where the Falcons and the Saints collide in the Big Easy. And this is for getting a step behind Tampa Bay in the division. That's right. I think a losing team will win the South and host a playoff game, which I think is the dumbest thing ever, and shouldn't be that way. Shouldn't be if you win the division, you get a home game. Sorry, you win the division, sure you get in, but you shouldn't get a home game. That's just my personal opinion, and I'll move on. The Falcons will be starting at Ritter. He'll be taking over for Mariota. I think they got to see what they got in Ritter. There's just too many question marks right now with Atlanta, especially actually both teams, to tell you the truth. Atlanta's been coughing up leads, which has been their MO. Saints have the ability to do more, but then the quarterback play just kind of fizzles and then creates turnovers, which puts more pressure on the defense. But I like the Saints defense better. I like the Saints offense better. And I'm taking the Saints in this one. They're favored by 4. I think it's going to be like a 3-point game. It's going to be a very close game. It should be an entertaining game, but it should be a 3-point victory, and I'll take the Saints in the win. In a playoff-style matchup, you'll have the Detroit Lions visiting the New York Jets. That's right, Lions and Jets are sniffing playoff berths. Who would have thought that? Right now, the line's even, and I kind of see why. The Jets' defense is phenomenal. They do get away with a lot of PIs. The offense has moments where they're just phenomenal, and then you have moments where WTF. Quarterback play has been one of the key parts of that one. The running attack is trying to find new identity. And then you look at the Detroit Lions, and they have weapons upon weapons that can attack you on offense. The defense is young and hungry. And for me, I hate to say this, but I'm going to take Detroit. I just know about this team right now. They're looking to make a name for themselves, and they're starting on a great trajectory. They started off horribly. I mean, it was horrible when they started. Like 1-6, like here we go again, Another bad team, Detroit. What else is new? But they're like in the last 6 or 5-1. They have just turned the corner. They competed with a lot of teams they shouldn't be competing with. Not many people thought they beat Minnesota, except for this guy. Heck, I even had them beating Philadelphia, and they almost did. So, with that being said, I would give this to Detroit. It will be even. It will be close. It'll probably be like a 6-point victory, but I'll give it to Detroit to win this game and get to 500. All right, next on the docket, we'll head down to Charlotte, where the Carolina Panthers play host to the Pittsburgh Steelers. One more loss would guarantee Tomlin's first losing season, and unfortunately, the next team on the docket is the Carolina Panthers, who continues to play well above their weight class. They went to Seattle and took it to the Seahawks, and I didn't think they had a shot. I mean, it seems like this team really thrives being the underdog and just taking care of opportunities. The defense was spectacular against the Seahawks. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense is nowhere near the same level as Seattle's. And regardless who the quarterback is, whether it be Pickett or Trubinsky, since Pickett got knocked out last week, he may or may not be playing this week. So there could be a possibility Trubisky being in there, and we've seen his caliber play recently where he doesn't really throw to the correct guys in the correct colored uniforms. But I don't know, it's just one of these weird games right now. Carolina's favored by 2.5. And I kind of like this. I think it will be like a 2-point victory. It's going to be a close, ugly game. Carolina's also right in the hunt for that divisional title for the South. I mean, it's just a weird thing when the Buccaneers are only 6-7, and Carolina's one game out. I mean, it's going to be a crazy time frame heading towards the end of the season for the NASCAR division. And I think the Panthers will not win it, but they definitely will make it interesting. And I think beating the Steelers by 2 is going to help them in that aspect. Then we head to Jacksonville, where the Jaguars play host to the Dallas Cowboys. This one's interesting. Right now, Dallas favored by 4.5. I'm actually surprised by that line. I thought it'd be a little bit higher, to tell you the truth, because the love affair everyone has with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys have a spectacular defense. Their offense has shown that they can light it up. They've also shown that they keep teams in the games. Last week against the Houston Texans, they should have lost. Plain and simple. The Texans should have beat the Cowboys at Jerry's World. If that was the Jacksonville Jaguars playing that tight to them, I think the Jaguars would have won that game. Or the Vikings actually showed up and played their game instead of getting blown out, they would have won that game. The Cowboys cannot afford to do another version of that game they did against the Texans with the Jaguars. The Jaguars are more talented than the Texans in terms of that aspect. Trevor Lawrence is definitely a rising star in the NFL ranks. He's probably right now a mid-tier quarterback who's had some fourth quarter comebacks. He's had some fourth quarter comebacks that failed, but he's led teams down. Fourth quarter, the Cowboys do have a nice dual-headed running attack with Pollard and Zeke. I mean, you still have CeeDee Lamb and Dak could still hook up and make some great plays. This one, I almost went with Jacksonville on this one. I almost did. I think it's just one of these games that the Cowboys are going to get caught short. It's going to be a lot closer than what they want. And it's going to probably be a comeback victory by Dallas to win this one. I think they're going to win it by 3. It's going to be a lot closer than what a lot of people want or think it should be. But I think Jacksonville's going to come in here, play them difficult, play them hard. Doug Peterson knows his team very well. He's taken on McCarthy before, so he knows his coaching style as well. And he's going to have a few prizes for the Cowboys. Probably find ways to take Michael Parsons out of his game plan a little bit. Not being much of a wrecking ball. But I think the Cowboys are just too talented to overlook in this aspect. And I think they will have a comeback touchdown in the fourth quarter like they did against Houston to beat the Jaguars by 3. And speaking of Texans, they're hosting Kansas City. Right now, KC's favored by 14. I'm debating where not to go with that. I'm still picking the Chiefs. I think this will be another lopsided game. But the Houston Texans can be a menace. Just ask the Cowboys how much of a menace they can be. I have a feeling that Kansas City once again will jump out early and often like they did against the Broncos, and that's all they needed. I don't think Mahomes will have another type of game like he did against Denver. He ended up throwing 3 picks. He probably will throw an interception or 2. Just because just how the Texans are, and if the balls get pumped up in the air, the Texas defenders are wise enough to go after the pop-ups and make turnovers. But I just think that it's going to be too much Chiefs. There's too much weapons on Kansas City to really kind of pinpoint who to take away. I mean, you take away Kelsey, which is the primary target for Mahomes, but he throws everyone else. I mean, he even said in the beginning of the season, don't draft any of his receivers because you're not going to have huge stats because I'm just going to find anyone and everyone that's eligible to catch the ball for me to throw it to. And he's been pretty much true to his word. So, yeah, I'm definitely taking Kansas City. I'll take the 14 because I think it might be a little bit closer than the Chiefs fans might want, but it's going to be just another loss for the Texans on the route to the number 1 pick. Speaking of the Broncos, now we head to Mile High, where the Broncos now play host to Arizona Cardinals. And If Rippon starts, I get this one to the Broncos. Kyler Murray's gone. He has been confirmed. He has a ACL tear or MCL tear, so he's definitely out for the season, more likely. Colt McCoy is a very wily veteran to have in the back, leading the Cardinals' offense. But if DeAndre Hopkins doesn't be able to control his ball, like he's have it loosely and get knocked out, where it ended up giving the Patriots the spark they needed to win last week in Glendale. It's going to be a long day, but I think Denver's defense is on the same par as New England's. Will definitely give Arizona all they can handle. I think J.J. Watt will make his presence felt by Rippon as well. Right now, Denver's favored by 3. I like that myself. I'm also taking Denver to win at home. But yeah, this is not going to be a pretty game overall because you got a couple of backups going at it. Vegas and the Raiders is just one of these teams that you look at them, they should be a lot better than what they are. They should not be 5-8. They should be like 8-5. They should be in the hunt for that playoff spot. Right now, on their outside looking in, on the verge, almost not making it, which is kind of a sad aspect when you look at the talent they have on this team. I mean, Carr, Jacobs, and Adams is a nice three-headed monster the Raiders have. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Derek Carr. I think he's a decent quarterback. He's doing his job, but could the Raiders get ties with him and pick up someone else? Possibly. I don't know. Maybe Trey with Green Bay. No. I doubt that. But anyways, and New England is just a very strange individual of a team itself. It's more defensive oriented this year. Matt Jones is not quite the same caliber of quarterback he was previous year. Sophomore slump, no problem. With that being said, I think that the having McDaniels and Belichick go at it should be an interesting take because McDaniels does know Belichick quite well. So he'll be able to scheme against him, but Belichick should know McDaniels' offense because he's had him underneath him for quite a long time. So he'll be able to know how to scheme against that. Be a good chess match between the two. Right now, New England's favored by 1, and I'm taking the Raiders by 1. I think it's just one of these games. I think you can pick them because it's really hard to determine which one's going to show up, which one's going to be the more dominant factor. But I have to go with the three-headed monsters the Raiders have at offense. Should have Max Crosby on the defensive end side. He's going to play havoc. And that's right, Max with 2 X's because he was such a big baby. That's why his mom named him with 2 X's. That story is just unreal when I heard that. But yeah, I'm taking the Raiders in a close game. Then we had the SoFi where the Chargers play host to the Titans. And these two teams, right in the thick of things. Tennessee is just missing something. It's really hard to really kind of pinpoint what it is. Could it be a playmaker receiver they let go and he ended up signing with Philadelphia and look at what Philadelphia is doing? I don't know. But Derrick Henry has sputtered this season. He's also had great games where he's run amok. I mean, he still has almost 1,200 yards rushing for the year, but only 11 touchdowns. I don't know. It's just one of these weird aspects. And then with the Chargers, you have Herbert. If you think Herbert and Henry on the same team, wow, that is a phenomenal force right there between those two. So I think Derrick Henry should find his way out to become a Charger, maybe take a little bit of a pay cut to make it work. But once again, that's just me, doing the fantasy team there. Chargers favored by 3. I think it's just because of the lack of offensive output by the Titans has really sparked this. The Chargers defense has moments of greatness, and then they stop plays, and then they just let teams score them at will. So with that being said, I think I will also take the Chargers. And I think it will be like a 3-point game. It will be a tight game. Should be a close game. Should be an entertaining game between these two. But I think the Chargers will get this one, and it'll make the AFC South interesting because the Titans keep losing and the Jags keep winning. Who knows? Next, we'll head down to Tampa Bay. Speaking of the South, where the Buccaneers will play host to the Bengals. And this should be a very interesting team because you got Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, taking on the GOAT, Tom Brady. And you saw what they did last week in San Francisco. Not much. Because that 49ers offense was just firing all cylinders. The Bengals offense is going to be better because they have Burrow as the quarterback, who's better than Purdy. But they are lacking in the tight end position. So, I mean, there's a few things here and there, but I think the Bengals offense is slightly better. Tampa Bay's going to have a hard time stopping this one. It's just the way they're clicking right now. And they have a running attack right now in Cincinnati, which is unheard of. You have two primetime receivers. So have a decent tight end that Burrow likes to use there so often. So there's a lot of weapons on the Cincinnati offense. It's the defense that's a little bit questionable a bit. They will cough off the plays, but they do tend to tighten up when push comes to shove. So Tampa Bay should make this one close. Right now, Cincinnati's favored by 3.5. I like those odds as well. I think it's going to be like a 4 or 5 point possibly victory by the Bengals. But I think the Bengals will go in there and put another loss on Tom Brady, make them 6-8, and really make that NASCAR division really, really interesting. Then Sunday night, the Giants and Commanders go at it. This, second time in 3 weeks, and actually back-to-back games for the Commanders to take on the Giants, even though they were off last week. And last week was a tie. Or last time they played, it was a tie. Excuse me. I'm looking at this as going to be a lot closer. Right now, Washington's favored by 4.5. It's going to be a lot closer than that. Just how these teams play. The Giants got embarrassed by Philadelphia. So they definitely got to put something on out there to kind of rebound from that one. Washington's one of those teams that probably will allow them to do that, especially Saquon can get back to his running attack. Daniel Jones, if he can do his thing as well. I'm more in the Heineke than I am Jones, so I will take the Commanders, but it will be less than 4. It'll probably be like a 2-point victory. It's going to be close. It should be entertaining. Should be a fun game to watch Sunday night. But I'm taking Washington. And then Monday night, when they scheduled this game, they thought this would be between two possible playoff-bound teams. And right now, I think both these teams will miss the playoffs. Even though technically Green Bay still has a shot, so does the Rams, but it's far flung. And it's Aaron Rodgers taking on Baker Mayfield. I mean, Baker had that phenomenal comeback against the Raiders. Only been on the team for 2 days. And he had that comeback from behind victory a la Tom Brady against the Saints. He's not going to have the same aspect in this one. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to find this particular game more favorable in his liking because the defense is not as powerful up front. And he can avoid Jalen Ramsey. And you pretty much handled the Rams. I mean, you can probably run it more now. So definitely use Jones as the running attack. Lazard has actually been a decent receiver as well. So Aaron will find some chances. He will find himself on the ground a lot because his offensive line is full of holes. Baker will make it close because that's what he does. He likes to throw in INTs there so often just to make the game entertaining. I think that's his game plan the entire time. His entire career in Cleveland. I just want to make the game entertaining. Are you not entertained? I doubt that, but anyways. No, I think it's going to be closer than 7. I think it'll be like a 3-point victory by him giving to the Packers to get to 6-8 to try to snip that number 7 seed. But I think they're too far back to really make a big push. But there you go. Those are my picks for Week 15. I didn't go off the line much. I think it's like maybe one or two that actually, did not pick the team that's favored. Try to see if I can kind of rebound from my 7-win last week. I mean, I got to do better than that, but uh, you never know. I mean, it's a fickle thing when it comes to picking these games because you don't know which team's going to show up, especially when teams have multiple personalities. It seems like, and if someone just has a bad day, someone has a bad day. It goes that way. But let me know down below which game you think I got completely wrong my pick. Which game are you looking forward to watching this weekend? I think that the 49ers Seahawks game Thursday night should be entertaining. But beyond that, I'm not too sure. Part of the Jets lines, that one should be a good one as well. But like I said, let me know down below. Once you do that, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Once again, you can also share this video with your friends and family. It helps build this channel out. Once you subscribe, make sure you click on the bell icon to turn on notifications. Let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.